Okay, we're ready. Okay, well, good morning, everybody. It is Friday the 13th. Yay. Is that a good day for everybody? Or is it some weird thing that everybody hears about Friday the 13th? It's a good
Perfectly
day.
wonderful.
It's a good day, the best. All right, so today we're going to continue. First of all, the slaughterhouse of failure is not in our destiny. We shall persevere until we succeed. Or the slaughterhouse of failure is in our destiny if we quit. By the way, guys, you're going to have to put up with me this week because I think Dan is sick. He's not well at all. I don't think he's got COVID, but he's really not very well. So just put up with me if you don't mind. So today we've been talking about 7 habits of having people for you to become respected by people. We talked about several of those habits. And, for example, one of them was never let anyone hear you complain. Your feelings are irrelevant. Your feelings are important to you, but not necessarily to everybody else. That was the first one. The second one was act with irrational self-belief. It doesn't matter what other people think, you can do it. Doesn't matter what other people think. The third one was admit when you're wrong. If we're wrong, be brave enough and bold enough to admit it and say, look, I really screwed up. I made a mistake. And that is where we start to grow. But we've got to have that self-confidence. The fourth one was honor your commitments. If you say you're going to do something, hold yourself accountable. Your reputation is the only thing you have in the world that will stay with you forever till you die. That's something that you have a reputation. And today we can talk about take yourself seriously. You'll never be able to demonstrate your true value without intent. But that intent has to be married to action. Stop at nothing to attain your values. So it's easy to lie to ourselves. It's easy to tell a lie to ourselves. Say, I'm going to do this, and then you don't. Who cares? No one's around you. But if you commit yourself to something, then it becomes embarrassing. And one of the first ways to learn to commit to yourself, even if it's to yourself, is to start making a public statement to your family. Start with that. Commit to your family that you're going to do something. Your friends, your community, whoever it is around you, commit yourself to doing something or to acting in a certain way, and let the people around you be the testimonials of whether you're achieving that or not. Regardless of what they say, you have to be true to yourself. So once committed, you will make sure you live up to that commitment. And it's the first step in the compound effect of creating a habit. If you create a habit of being true to yourself, of being loyal to yourself, of having self-respect, having the self-love of what you are and who you are, that's the first step, because it becomes a habit. And then you don't have to think about it. It's automatic. You will automatically not fall into the pits of doing something that's not wrong. That's wrong. So it's your integrity, and it's the compound effect that will eventually take place. Lead by example. Follow your own example. Just be the example of who you want to be. Be who you want to be. And do it every day. It's a repetition thing. It's a thing of, never let yourself be down. Be proud of your decisions at all time. You'll learn from these mistakes with enthusiasm. If you make a mistake, be enthusiastic and say, yeah, I screwed up. Okay, what did I learn from that? What was my lesson? Is this something that is this something that I can learn from? Well, you better learn from your mistakes, because that's something we all do, and have passion about learning from that mistake. Embrace the mistake. Be happy you made a mistake. The people who do nothing will not make any mistakes. You'll only improve if you do make mistakes. So take yourself seriously, and by doing that, you are automatically leading by example. I gave one little story some time ago about an officers' club. I had a meeting in Colombia, Cartagena, at an officers' club, an Air Force officers' club. And the meeting was for 10 o'clock. And I got there like at, I don't know, 9:45, 9 something. And I was the only one there. At 9 o'clock, 2 or 3 people started to trickle in. 9:15, a few more people started to trickle in. And I got up and I wrote on the blackboard, integrity starts with punctuality. And I sat down. And by 10:30, the room there were about 50, 60 people in it. And that message was still on the blackboard. And somebody said, we just got a lesson. There's a lesson. Somebody who's actually supposed to be not the person who's going to lead the talk was here before everybody else. Where's your respect? Where's your self-respect? And I said, okay, well, there's another one tomorrow, and it starts at 10. I will close the doors at 10. And we did another meeting, and by that time, seriously, everybody was there before 10. A couple were left out, and I closed the door. That's leading by example. That is, if you believe in yourself, leading by example. So the other point that I wanted to talk about today was control your emotions. Your emotions, when we get emotional, we don't think with our head, we think with our heart. So over the years, I've learned to dominate my emotion and to be the last one to talk, to listen to everybody else. Because when people get emotional, they say things that sometimes are irrelevant or otherwise could be even damaging to their way of thinking. So it becomes important to control that emotion. How do you do that? Well, it's to be in wherever you are, be there. I've always said that. And if you are where you are, be aware of what it's all about, not just the argument or the discussion in place. What is it about? What is the conclusion? What do we want from the conclusion? What are we aiming for? What are we striving for? So the way we can avoid having irrational thoughts is to control the emotion. And that is being in the present, being mindful, be conscious of the bigger picture, not just that immediate zinger that you have missed out or that somebody's done against you. Deep breathing. We talk about box breathing. We talk about, what box breathing is. It's like, breathe in for the count of 4, keep it in for the count of 7, breathe out for the count of 8. It can be any ratio like that, but it's boxed so that you're consciously breathing in, you're holding it, and then you're breathing out consciously for a certain measured period of time. That also helps your mind. That also helps your blood pressure. It helps everything. So controlled breathing is essential to staying calm. It's essential to be able to control your emotion. When you have a negative thought, think of it as darkness. Get away from the darkness. Look only at the light. If you see a bunch of weeds, growing outside, just look for the flower. There are plenty of flowers there, but we focus on the weeds. Don't focus on the negative things. Don't focus on the bad things. Don't focus on something just to make a point that you're going to detract from your own integrity and from somebody else's true worth, just because you don't agree. So stay in the light. Pause between your thoughts. Always pause. Even if it sounds, you feel like you need to say something, pause and let it sink in. And slowly get your points across, but in a pause way. If you like a machine gun, people lose half of what you say anyway. So it's important to be able to pause when you're having a conversation. And sometimes when in the heat of something, when you really feel like that you're being emotionally involved, even get up from there and go and get yourself a glass of water or something. That physical distraction is important. It's important to cut off that overwhelming feeling of something that you're not happy with. Get up and get a glass of water. And that is a distraction. And it's also something that will help your mind, excuse me, refrain. The last thing I wanted to mention, and then I'll open it up, of course, is be a leader. Many people drift through life without any purpose, without any direction, without any real intent. So if you learn what they need, you can lead. But first you've got to understand, what do you want? By when do you want to achieve this? What are you willing to do to achieve this? Are you willing just to dream about it, or are you going to put it into action? What is your plan of action? As Nike says, just do it. By doing, you'll be showing the way. First, that you're not afraid to be doing something amazing. Never be afraid of, the only thing we have to be afraid of is dying and paying taxes. That we have to do. The rest is all optional stuff. So don't be afraid of doing something amazing. And people will see that. And second, make sure you think of the plan, because if you think about it, you can then look at the pros and cons. We then talk about all sorts of things like, lead measures, lag measures, all these other things we always talk about. And if you're fearless, you'll have irrational belief in yourself, unswerving belief in yourself. And that was one of the points we discussed a couple of weeks ago. So when we look at this, and I thought about it, and I thought, who are some really influential leaders who've had a huge impact on all of the population of the world? I mean, that's a hell of a big order. But then we look, and I thought, okay, well, Mahatma Gandhi. I mean, the guy walked around in diapers and a cloth. That's all he had. And he influenced millions and millions of people. So that was a passive way of having civil disobedience. But he led the struggle for India's independence. And the British were all, full of all the systems that they had and all the rest of it. And Mahatma Gandhi went through life in a passive way, barefoot. Maybe he had a sandal now and then, I don't know, a couple of sandals. But generally, he inspired people through a passive civil disobedience. Nelson Mandela, you may not know this, but Nelson Mandela was a terrorist. He started off by blowing up bridges, and he was really bad news. But he went to jail for 26 years. And he came out of that and he said, nothing happened. I'm going to make a rainbow coalition, and I'm going to start again, and we're going to have a new way of thinking, a new way of life. And that's what he did. So he started off with some, being pretty bad news, but then eventually he had plenty of time to think about it. And was it worth it? And he changed, not by being a terrorist, which obviously went to jail for. But he changed when he actually had a sort of an epiphany, if you will, but over years of saying, I think I can make a difference in a passive way. Mother Teresa, she's a diminutive Catholic nun in a missionary in India, and Calcutta. I mean, that's hardly Manhattan, and she lived there in the most horrendous, squalid situations. She dedicated her life to that, and everybody on the planet knows about Mother Teresa. So there's another one who actually was able to make a huge impact by leading by example, by doing something that other people would say, geez, I'll never be able to emulate that, but at least I'll try and do something like it. At least I can understand what she's trying to do. And it stimulates the thought process in other people. Martin Luther King, I have a dream. That I have a dream speech has impacted everybody. Just those words, I have a dream. That's a big thing. And the one I like, one of the people I like most is Malala Yousafzai, Malala. She was a girl that's a Muslim girl from Afghanistan, and she was a Pakistani, I think, and she was actually shot for trying to advocating for education for women. It's kind of amazing that in this day and age, there's a lot of prejudice against women, and against women learning, and against women's education, and against women generally. There's some countries that don't even allow them to drive. I mean, where the hell are we? And here's this one girl who's now, I don't know, 20 something. Maybe she's more than that by now. But she was a young girl. She was shot. And she won the Nobel Prize for Science, for laureate, a Nobel Peace Prize. But she advocated for women's education. I mean, she's not advocating for something that's outrageous. Women's education, for goodness sake. And so she's a diminutive size, physical, but a huge person. So, there are three people that are leading by example, and in a very quiet way, without, having to make a lot of noise and a lot of advertising and all the rest of it. So these individuals are celebrated for their integrity, vision, and enduring contributions to society. Enduring contributions to society. Vision, integrity, they never wavered from that. So I've had my say. If anybody would like to have a comment, I'd be very happy to. If anybody wants to say anything, please do.
That was awesome as usual, and very insightful and poignant, Lawrence. And put something on box breathing into the chat.
Thank you. I'm looking at it now. Thank you, sir. Yeah, it's been said that the Portuguese, French, Dutch would have hanged Gandhi and would have opened fire on followers. Well, that's probably right at the time, but so he defied fear. That's the other thing. He had physical fear about. So anybody have any comments? Anybody want to say anything about that? I think this is all applicable to who we are. Lead by example, have unswerving belief in yourself. There's no reason why we shouldn't. We're backed by a company that's got our back. It was rated among the top 100 most trustworthy companies in the US by Forbes. That's a big deal. That's something we should be proud of. And we've got the people we choose to work with. That's another big deal. Yesterday, I spoke with with Joe Scalia had somebody on the call, and with Mike Cook, we've discussed this many times, and John Swartz, and the Ripples and many people. So the big thing is we choose the people that we actually want to work with. I give 80% of my time to the 20% of people who match the effort. And eventually we become friends. In business, many times people are friends and they do business together, and then they lose their friendship, because that's what happens. Friends, let's do this business. And then they realize that it's not that easy. And then their friendship breaks. In our case, we strengthen our friendship. I went to Mike Cook's wedding in Costa Rica. Joe Scalia and I have become very close friends over the years. And so we have, I feel like John Swartz is like an adopted son. The Ripples, I mean, the people who I work very closely with, and there are many others, I feel are family now. So this is something else that we've got that we can be happy about, and give us that confidence of unswerving belief in what we're doing.
Sir, you are definitely my work dad. That is for sure. And I appreciate you and all you do for everybody. You're consistent every week on this call, every Friday. No matter where you're at in the world, you show up, and that's inspiring. And keep doing what you're doing. And you're right. Work with the 80% of your time with the 20% of your people, and that's what I've decided to do. I mean, people that are investing in themselves, I'm going to spend more time with. When you go out to Utah, when you get a scanner, I'm going to invest. I'm going to drop everything I need to do to make sure that those people are successful. I'm going to work with the people that don't go out there, but more of my time is going to be focused on the people that invest in themselves. And, getting them out to Utah is important. It makes it easier to work with people. It gets them to be productive, and it gets them to stick around longer. And that's the importance of getting out there. But, great call today. Clarity is also a big thing that people need to focus on for personal development. And you talk about this all the time. What are you? Who are you? And what do you want? And most people don't know that, so they're just going in circles, and they're feeling overwhelmed and not like they're getting anywhere. So having clarity and always thinking about who you want to become and doing those daily habits to be that is very important also. I'm going to get off my soapbox now.
No, actually, John, I appreciate you very much, and especially you and Michael, for the calls you do every Wednesday, for example. That's a call that is consistent. You're there every Wednesday. It's the physician call for distributors. It's consistency. It's being open and having heart, having empathy, having passion, being who you are. That's what this is all about.
Hey, Lawrence, I saw Yvette put a message in the chat. How do you go about the 20% that does not put in the effort? And this is something I discovered early on in the business, is you can't want something for someone more than they want it for themselves. We can see things in people that they don't see. Their capacity doesn't mean that they're going to fulfill that. So don't waste your time on those that are not, offering an equal amount of enthusiasm and drive and ambition and actually getting out there and doing it. Focus on those ones as John mentioned. So hope that answers the question.
Thank you. Good. I agree.
Yeah.
Agree. Thank you. Jim Trainer, have you got tonsillitis or something?
No, he put in the chat his audio is not working today.
I'm sorry, I didn't see it.
I know. Yeah, usually hear from Jim or Martin. I see on here too.
Martin, absolutely, Martin. Have you got tonsillitis? You got something sore throat or something?
No, I'm sitting at the feet of the master in wonderment. You know, it's a wonderful thing to do. But no, you've raised some wonderful points here. And John just raised one. People follow clarity, because without clarity, how can you follow? You simply can't do that. And integrity is everything. Your word is a very fragile thing. If you break it, people will know, and you will never have their trust again. So that's something we all need to bear in mind.
I actually, thank you, Martin. I actually have a terrible joke which I can't tell in this audience, but it's about your reputation. And you can work all your life to do all the right things, and then you make one serious mistake, and people will remember that one serious mistake forever. They'll forget all the good things, and they'll remember that one bad thing you did.
Just one sheep, Lawrence.
Yeah. That's right. Robin, you had a haircut. You look beautiful, as always. You kind of on perfection, but wow. The
Yeah.
color and everything. What's up?
Good morning, Lawrence. I look forward to the Friday morning calls with you and Dan and everybody. And thank you. What you shared, our mindset, these people that have come from nowhere and accomplished great things. They discovered who they really were and what they could achieve. And anyway, it's exactly what I needed to hear this morning. So thank you so very much.
Thank you for being on the call. Welcome. All right.
Thank you, Lawrence. I've got to jump off. I've got
Yeah,
another.
I know. It's 10 o'clock.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it every day.
Blessings to everybody. Thank you.
Blessings.
Thank
you,
you.
Lawrence.
Thanks, Lawrence.
Great call. Bye-bye.